Congress has officially approved a bill that directly affects Social Security, extra monthly payments, and related financial support for seniors, retirees, and people living on fixed incomes across the United States. This development has generated significant attention, along with considerable confusion and mixed information circulating online. Today, the focus is exclusively on explaining what is real, what has actually been approved, and how these changes may affect your money this month and in the months ahead. The goal is to walk through the facts methodically using straightforward language so you can understand precisely what applies to your situation and how to stay informed and prepared moving forward. This congressional approval arrives at a time when countless seniors are experiencing genuine financial pressure. Rising costs for groceries, housing, utilities, healthcare, and insurance have made it increasingly difficult for fixed incomes to stretch as far as they once did. Lawmakers have publicly acknowledged these pressures, and this bill represents part of a broader effort to address income stability for people who rely on Social Security and related benefits as their primary source of financial support. While this legislation does not transform everything overnight, it does introduce important updates that can affect monthly payment amounts, payment timing, and eligibility for additional support programs. One of the most critical points must be addressed immediately. This bill does not replace Social Security, and it does not cancel or reduce existing benefits in any way. Social Security remains a foundational program, and monthly retirement payments, survivor benefits, disability payments, SSI and SSDI all continue operating under the same fundamental structure. What this bill accomplishes is approving additional funding and policy adjustments that allow for specific increases, supplements, or temporary extra payments under defined conditions. These changes are designed to strengthen the existing system and provide targeted relief rather than completely rewriting the entire program. The phrase extra payment has been used extensively in discussions about this legislation, and it means different things depending on individual circumstances. In this particular bill, extra payments are tied to supplemental funding allocations that support cost of living adjustments, special payment provisions, and administrative flexibility for certain groups of recipients. These payments are not universal checks sent to every single recipient in identical amounts. Instead, they are structured so that eligible individuals may see higher deposits, supplemental credits, or adjusted monthly totals based on their specific benefit category and income status. Another key element of this legislation is its focus on protecting purchasing power for benefit recipients. Social Security payments are regularly adjusted through cost of living increases, but those increases often lag behind real-world expenses that seniors actually face. This legislation recognizes that gap and provides mechanisms allowing certain benefit categories to receive additional support when inflation and essential costs outpace standard adjustments. This provision is especially relevant for seniors who spend a higher percentage of their income on healthcare and housing, which historically tend to rise faster than average inflation measurements capture. Understanding how Congress approves legislation like this and what happens afterward is equally important. When Congress passes a bill affecting Social Security and related benefits, it authorizes funding and policy changes, but actual implementation occurs through federal agencies. This means changes do not always appear instantly in your bank account. Payment adjustments are processed through existing systems that follow monthly cycles and verification steps. Some changes can take effect within weeks, while others roll out over several months depending on complexity and administrative requirements. This timeline is normal and expected. This bill includes provisions specifically designed to support smoother processing and reduce delays in benefit delivery. In recent years, many seniors experience frustrating delays due to staffing shortages, system backlogs, and administrative slowdowns within the Social Security Administration. Part of the approved funding is designated specifically to improve processing efficiency, helping ensure that eligible payments are issued accurately and on time. While this does not guarantee perfection in every case, it does signal a meaningful effort to stabilize benefit delivery for millions of recipients. For retirees already receiving Social Security, the most likely impact will be reflected in adjusted payment amounts rather than entirely new payment streams appearing separately. These adjustments may appear as slightly higher monthly deposits or as supplemental amounts tied to specific eligibility criteria. For individuals receiving supplemental security income, the impact of this bill may be more immediately noticeable. SSI recipients are often more directly affected by supplemental funding due to the strict income and asset limits that govern the program. Changes in available funding can translate more directly into payment adjustments for this population. People receiving Social Security disability insurance are also included in the scope of this legislation. Disability beneficiaries often face higher living costs related to ongoing medical care and accessibility needs, and the bill specifically acknowledges these realities. While SSDI payments follow a different structure than SSI payments, provisions in the bill allow for targeted support that aligns with the unique cost pressures faced by disabled individuals. Survivor beneficiaries, including widows and widowers, are also part of this legislative framework. Survivor benefits are often lower than retirement benefits and can leave individuals financially vulnerable, particularly when they were not the primary earner during their working years. The framework established by this bill allows for adjustments that help protect survivors from falling behind as living costs continue increasing. These adjustments are structured within existing benefit formulas to maintain consistency and fairness across the system. It is important to address the topic of stimulus payments directly, as this term is frequently misunderstood in discussions about benefit legislation. This bill is not the same as past emergency stimulus checks that were sent during national crises. Instead, it represents a more structured, ongoing approach to financial support delivered through the Social Security system. While some eligible individuals may receive what feels like a stimulus-style increase in their monthly payment, this money is delivered through benefit adjustments rather than one-time universal checks sent to everyone regardless of circumstances. The funding approved by Congress is tied to specific budget allocations within federal spending plans. This means the money is already authorized and accounted for within approved budgets. It is not speculative funding or dependent on future votes or political negotiations. However, how that funding is distributed depends on eligibility rules, benefit categories, and administrative timelines that vary based on individual circumstances. Understanding this distinction helps manage expectations appropriately and prevents disappointment caused by unrealistic assumptions about what might arrive in your account. Another important aspect of this legislation is its emphasis on fairness across different benefit groups. Lawmakers aim to balance support so that those with the greatest financial need receive proportionally more assistance. This approach recognizes that not all seniors face the same financial challenges. Someone living on a minimal SSI benefit experiences cost increases very differently than someone with a higher retirement benefit combined with additional savings or pension income. The legislation attempts to account for these differences in its distribution framework. The bill also reinforces existing protections against benefit reductions. There has been ongoing concern among recipients about the long-term stability of Social Security and whether benefits might be cut in the future. While this legislation does not solve every future challenge facing the program, it includes safeguards that prevent immediate cuts or disruptions to benefits. This reassurance is particularly important for seniors who depend on monthly payments to cover essential expenses like housing, food, and medication. Knowing that protections exist helps reduce anxiety about financial stability. It is worth acknowledging that misinformation spreads quickly when major legislation is approved. Claims about massive checks being sent to everyone, automatic bonuses appearing without any eligibility requirements, or sudden dramatic changes to how programs operate often circulate without proper context or verification. This explanation focuses on verified legislative outcomes and realistic impacts rather than exaggerated promises that may not materialize. Understanding the real scope of what Congress approved helps seniors plan responsibly and avoid making financial mistakes based on inaccurate information. The role of income reporting remains important under this legislation. Changes to benefits do not remove existing reporting requirements for SSI or other income programs. Seniors should continue to report changes in income, living arrangements, or marital status as required by program rules. Doing so helps ensure that payments remain accurate and prevents overpayments that could cause future repayment issues. Overpayment notices can create significant stress and financial hardship, so maintaining accurate records remains essential. Healthcare-related costs represent another area indirectly affected by this legislation. While the bill does not directly change Medicare rules or premiums, higher Social Security payments can influence premium calculations and net benefit amounts for many seniors. Medicare Part B premiums, for example, are deducted directly from Social Security payments for most recipients. This means it is important to evaluate total monthly income after all deductions rather than focusing only on gross benefit increases. What appears as a larger payment may be partially offset by premium adjustments in some cases. The legislation also acknowledges regional cost differences that exist across the country. While Social Security operates as a national program with consistent benefit formulas, living costs vary widely across different states and cities. Supplemental provisions within the legislation allow for administrative flexibility that helps address these geographic differences without creating separate programs for each region. This approach aims to provide meaningful support while maintaining national consistency in how the program operates. For seniors who work part-time or receive income from other sources, the bill does not eliminate existing earnings rules that affect benefits. However, adjustments in benefit amounts may slightly change how additional income interacts with monthly Social Security payments. Understanding these interactions helps seniors make informed decisions about work and supplemental income without risking unintended benefit reductions that could affect their financial stability. Another important practical point is that this legislation does not require seniors to apply for new programs. In most cases, adjustments are generally processed automatically based on existing records maintained by the Social Security Administration. This reduces administrative burden on recipients and helps ensure that eligible individuals receive appropriate benefits without completing additional paperwork or applications. However, staying informed and reviewing payment notices when they arrive remains important. Automatic processing does not mean recipients should ignore their statements or assume everything is always correct. The approval of this bill sends a broader message about national priorities regarding senior citizens and vulnerable populations. It reflects recognition by Congress that these groups need continued support in a changing economic environment where costs are rising faster than many fixed incomes can accommodate. While political debates about spending and programs continue, this legislation represents a concrete step toward addressing immediate financial pressures faced by millions of Americans who depend on Social Security as their primary or sole source of income. As payments begin reflecting these approved changes, seniors may notice differences in deposit amounts or timing compared to previous months. These differences should be reviewed carefully to understand what portion reflects standard benefits and what portion reflects newly approved adjustments. Keeping personal records and reviewing monthly statements helps maintain clarity and confidence about what you are receiving and why. If discrepancies appear, having documentation makes resolving issues with the Social Security Administration much easier. It is essential to approach information about these changes carefully. Large legislative changes often lead to exaggerated claims or misleading interpretations circulating on social media and elsewhere. Relying on official notices from the Social Security Administration and observing consistent payment patterns provides a more reliable understanding than rumors or unverified claims from unofficial sources. Staying calm and informed helps protect financial well-being and prevents anxiety caused by misinformation. The approval of this legislation represents acknowledgement that seniors and vulnerable populations need continued attention and support from their government. While it does not solve every challenge facing Social Security or eliminate all financial pressures seniors experience, it provides meaningful adjustments that reflect current economic conditions. These changes are designed to strengthen purchasing power, protect stability, and ensure that benefits continue meeting essential needs for food, housing, healthcare, and daily living expenses. As monthly payments begin reflecting these updates, seniors should take time to review their finances and make adjustments where needed. Small increases can add up over time and provide opportunities to manage expenses more effectively or build small reserves for unexpected costs. Thoughtful planning helps turn legislative changes into real-life benefits that improve quality of life. This brings us to the most important takeaway from everything covered today. Congress has approved a bill that supports Social Security and provides for extra financial support where it is genuinely needed. These changes are real, properly funded, and integrated into the existing benefit system. They are not sudden windfalls that will dramatically transform financial circumstances overnight, but they are meaningful steps toward greater stability for millions of Americans who depend on these programs for their basic needs. Understanding what has been approved, how it is being implemented, and how it affects individual circumstances empowers seniors to stay in control of their finances. Staying informed through official sources, reviewing payments when they arrive, and planning carefully are the best ways to make the most of these legislative updates. This approval matters because it reinforces the role of Social Security as a reliable source of support and formally recognizes the financial realities seniors face in today's economy. By understanding these changes clearly and approaching them calmly, older adults can move forward with greater confidence, knowing what to expect and how to manage their benefits wisely in the months ahead.